Next up, we have 3.10, System Recognition. Recognition of student member to the Board of Education. And we have a proclamation. I think everybody here knows that this will be Mr. Sam Starr's last meeting on the Board of Education before he heads off on his journey to Dartmouth College to set new pole vaulting records, we hope, and excel academically as and just as a person. So I'll start off with a proclamation, and then I would like to invite members of the board to make some comment. You'll have your opportunity to speak now or save it for your student member of the board comments. We'll leave that up to you. But I'd like to read the proclamation. Sam Starrs, student member, Board of Education of Frederick County. Whereas Sam Starrs has served a term as the student member to the Board of Education, and whereas he has exhibited a sincere desire to see that his fellow students receive a quality education, and whereas he has regularly shared the information he has received in this capacity with representatives to the Frederick County Association of Student Councils, and whereas he has provided the Board of Education with a valuable student perspective on matters of education, now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the Board of Education of Frederick County, Maryland, express deep appreciation to Sam Starrs for his time, devotion, and commitment to educational excellence in the community of Frederick County, and be it further resolved that we wish Mr. Starrs a rich and rewarding life filled with a continued desire to serve in the public interest in the mature manner which he has exhibited while serving on the Board of Education. It is signed by every member of this board and includes a signature of Dr. Marco, our interim superintendent of schools, Sam Starrs. So. We'll take a photo when you're ready, so you can make some remarks now. Or you want to do them now?
Sure.
Okay.
I move approval of the proclamation for our student member of the board.
Yeah, second.
Thank you.
We all second.
Oh, it is an action item. Forgive me, I got so wrapped up in reading the proclamation. So we have a motion to approve the proclamation by Mr. Mason, a second by Ms. Yoho.
Should I vote?
Is there any comment?
Yeah, you can vote.
You can vote for yourself, or you can abstain. Any comment? On the comment on the proclamation?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. All right, then all those in favor, say aye. And that is unanimous, including the student member. Mr. Starrs.
So I'll go ahead and give my farewell address now.
Okay.
So normally I, speak off the top, but today I've written it down so I can, I don't want to forget anything. So I'll be reading off my phone. After 12 months on the Frederick County Board of Education, today marks my final meeting as a student member of the board. In reflecting on this fact, I realized it would probably be a little melodramatic to deliver a whole farewell after only a year of being here, and yet I'm going to do it anyway because it's very important to me that I properly thank everyone who has made my term as SMOB so impactful and memorable. But also, in many ways, this is more than a goodbye to the Board of Education. I graduated last month, so this position is kind of the final string attaching me to FCPS. So in reality, this is my farewell to the school system itself. So bear with me, I'll keep it brief, which if you've, been on the board long enough, I've learned that means it'll be very long. It's never brief. At least 5 minutes. I'll keep it below 5 minutes though. Sorry. I've spent the last 12 years in Frederick County Public Schools. I began at Centerville Elementary in first grade, moved to Oakdale Elementary in third, and have been in Oakdale schools ever since. Though it's been so long and I would expect to feel relieved to finally get out of here, I still find myself reluctant to leave, and I think that is a testament to how much of a positive impact FCPS has had on my life. Through every step of my education journey, I have been surrounded with supportive, personable teachers who are good at what they do. I've had access to a vast array of different extracurriculars or programs, art, sports, theater, you name it, and I've made the best of friendships, which, though fostered and sustained by FCPS, I'm sure will continue throughout my life. I also, of course, learned a lot. Not just educational material, but life lessons and people skills and everything that comes with being a decent and independent person in society. My whole career in FCPS was great, and I really can't complain about anything. And, just when I thought it couldn't get any better, at the apex of my education journey thus far, I was honored with the opportunity to serve on this board. And my experience has been nothing short of fantastic. To sit here on the dais after 11 years in the school system and see its governing body actually lead it, and then to actually participate in that leadership has been simply fascinating. One of my favorite parts of this position has been getting to know the board members and FCPS staff. Everyone here is so incredibly kind and supportive. Whenever I set a personal record on the track, I could be sure to hear a dozen congratulations from staff at my next board meeting. And I have no idea how they found out about it half the time either. It's weird. It's awesome. This place really is a community, and I'm so glad to have been a part of it for the past year, so thank you all. And of course, it's important to acknowledge that I have been very privileged and fortunate to have an FCPS story that is so overwhelmingly positive, but that is not obviously the case for many other students. That being said, from my knowledge, albeit extremely limited, I'm confident in the direction of FCPS. Just from my observations and interactions with everyone here, I know these board members and staff members are all super passionate about what they do and genuinely want the best for all students. So hopefully more students will have the same great experience that I and many others did. So, from the staff to the teachers and even to the public commenters who took it upon themselves to present my own poll data that they themselves had skewed the results of, thank you to everyone for everything. It really has been great. Lucas Tessarola will be taking over this chair, and I'm sure he will do fine. I look forward to coming back when I'm home and maybe delivering a little bit of a public comment from a more unfiltered perspective. So thank you all.
Would like the board member comments?
Sure.
Stars?
So Sam has been a constant and consistent professional. He has been, cool under pressure. He has been decisive. He has been a representative of the students of Frederick County. He's taken it upon himself to continually reach out to find out what the students are asking and give his position not from himself, but what students was hear from students. And so I think the students have had an excellent leader in that regard, and you've been an excellent mouthpiece for our students. And I really appreciate that. When you spoke, I knew I was hearing from the students, and I really appreciated that. I think this has been a time of pressure for everyone, and you've been ice cold under it, and I learned a lot watching you. And so I'm grateful to have worked with you, and I wish you the absolute best going forward.
Ms. Barrett?
I've had the honor of working with student members of the board since 2015, I guess, 2014. And our students are all exceptional. And every time I get a chance to interact and listen to a student, I learn. But to Mr. J's point, it's been a tough time to be a board member. It's been a tough time to be an FCPS employee, and it's certainly been a tough time to be a student. You have achieved through that time, and I think that you've been a great example to us as board members of the students that we're serving, and just a great example to your classmates across the system. I think I told you that talking to some of the middle school SGA members who just. It was like they were meeting a rock star to hear you speak, and looking up to you, not because you're like the state champion pole vaulter, but because you're a leader, and that's a big deal. So thanks for all you've done. Thanks for your service. This is you've spent a lot of late nights here with us, while again we were still trying to work things out. And I think that you've been a big part of helping our board come together and do better things. So thank you. And I wish you so much goodness and have fun. So
I'll go next. And I think you know how I feel about you. You're just a superhuman being. And I know it sounds cliche, but the world is truly a better place with you in it. It's just the truth. And I don't know if any of my colleagues here had the chance to actually watch your video of when you were running for your seat on the Board of Education. And if they hadn't, I highly recommend it, because I would vote for you for anything you would have been running for, having watched that. I mean, it was Sam all around Frederick, and just it was superb. So I'll find the link and send it to you. I don't know how I stumbled across it. Probably trying to find out what the pole vaulting record was that you broke, and just that I was so impressed with you to begin with. Out the time on the board, Sam always smiles, no matter how a crummy a night we might have had on the board. You could always count on Sam to just be a steady person who's kind of like got that confidence of, we're going to keep it together, we're going to keep moving forward. And he's the reason why we're doing this. You are not only the student, but you're the leader, so you're in two roles on that. And I have the utmost admiration and respect for you, and I know you're going to do wonderful things, and I just truly appreciate the chance I've gotten to know you. Thank you.
Sam, I think our colleagues put it well, including saying you are an outstanding leader. You came to every meeting extremely well prepared. We got to serve on 2 committees together, Racial Equity Committee, Family Life Advisory Committee. You brought tremendous perspective, both your own personal perspective, and you were able to speak to a number of student experiences. I've been just very impressed by what you bring to this position. I think from the get-go, you were willing to, in particular ways, demonstrate leadership. 2 things that I'll bring up. I really think very early on, maybe right after you had gotten elected, you participated in one of the food distributions with Mr. Young, with I Believe in Me, and I think that was very important. And an example that, I don't know, may not present our board in the best light, but I think presents you in a great light. Very early on, I think you called us out when we weren't always getting along with one another. And I mean, that just took tremendous courage. Really, it speaks to your leadership now and your leadership potential going forward. I think you are extremely well prepared for college. I'm excited to see what you'll do in college, certainly in terms of pole vault and academics. And I think you have a great career and a great life ahead of you. I've really enjoyed serving with you. So thank you, Sam.
Where I can see you there. I think the first time, because Mr. Mason was president and I was vice president, we met with you, and you were able to, we were discussing world events or something, and you were able to supply a piece of knowledge just in our conversation. That was the first time I realized, wow, this is one sharp kid. And you've never gone downhill from there. It's just always been a pleasure. And again, the student member of the board, that the ones that I've known, they're always mature. They've always got their act together. I think of myself at that age, and I'm like, I'm just constantly amazed because I was a mess, but I didn't know what I was doing. And to see how, just watching your journey this year, the decisions you've been making, that's been fun. And then being at the Oakdale graduation, which I opted that one to give the speech because I had former 4th graders. Stars was not one of them, but that were graduating, so that was a lot of fun for me. But then, as you came up and you were going to give us a fist bump, and I'm still crying from Catherine Brennan's song that she wrote, the song they played on there, she wrote that song. She also went to Oakdale. She was not one of my students, but I remembered her as soon as she started playing. And then he gets up because he's the top, your GPA or whatever. It's like, Sam's that person, and you gave just a fantastic speech. I love the part where you're like, I can't look at my mother. I can't look at my mother. She's up there, and I can't look at her. And it's like that a mother's heart good. So we don't have any doubts. I know any of us, you're going to do great things, and I know you'll keep in touch. And we look forward to just hearing all your adventures. So not all of them. You don't have to share all of them. Just the major ones. But.
So the first 3 years I sat on that side of the dais, so I didn't really get an opportunity to sit next to the student member, and to sit next to Sam has been an absolute pleasure. When they announced him as the top high school GPA from Oakdale High School for all 4 years, it was a surprise, but I don't think it was a surprise. It was great to see the look on your face. I think you may have known, but you were still surprised. And when you have people achieving sometimes to that level, they don't always think about others. And as you heard in his speech, he mentioned that somebody else, some of our other students, may not have the same fortunes, same luck, or same opportunities as you have had. And I think that's a testament to your person, your character, who you are, that you are always going to think about other people, no matter how successful you are. And I think I appreciate that most from you. When we talk about equity, you know, some people talk about it, but I think Sam is one of those people that actually walks the talk. And I think I just really so much appreciate that you think about others while you're being so successful. And it's hard to do. It's not easy to do for everybody. And to do it at such a young age really has an impact on me. And I'm honored to sit next to you. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to your future successes, seeing your Twitter videos of your pole vaults at Dartmouth, one of the 17 kids that are going to Ivy League schools. And it's going to be an honor to see you grow and continue. And don't forget us little people when you when you get there, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yep.
Dr. Marco?
Yes, I'd like to just begin by thanking Sam's parents. And you've raised an incredible, incredible young man, and you can tell that you've invested. Having a young daughter, I'd like to see your handbook, if you would share that with me. Sam, you are talented, you're wise, you have tremendous intellect, but what awes me about you is your humility. And as I've studied servant leaders, humility is the foundation of it. And I know when I was 17 and 18, I didn't have an ounce of humility, unfortunately. But you have amazing humility, and you are dedicated to serving people, and that will take you so far. I've found over my years that many times trophies and diplomas and transcripts and records, they gather dust. But characteristics like humility and service are never forgotten, and I will never forget those two qualities about you, and I hope you carry them forward, because they will serve you tremendously in a very, very bright, bright future. Thank you for all that you've done for Frederick County Public Schools.
We heard you would like a picture, but we would also like a picture too. So come on up. Yeah, we're doing it here with our lady in the background. Sam front and center. We close up? Yeah, I think we're.
Take 2 steps to the right, to left, rather. All right, your left.
Stage left. More?
Should we stagger?
More?
They're moving it
Oh, yeah,
across.
Some
okay.
move
There's
forward,
the-
some move in.
Can you get us all?
Oh, yeah, the Marco's not.
Oh.
So if you guys come forward a little bit, and like Dave and Liz cut in.
Thank you, Mr. Dubs.
You got an assistant, Tim.
I'm like, I'm worried about my job security now. Okay. I'm gonna come just a little bit closer, so.
Say stars.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Stars.
It's our best work, really.
Okay, I know this is bad, it's on camera, but can I use my iPhone?
Sure.
I'll let Eric know. Because the lady is so bright, she reflects very
Oh.
Oh,
Oh,
the lady.
the lady, the alien lady.
Maybe somebody wants to get rid of it.
Yes.
Doesn't she look like an alien? She really does.
That water cooler, we can cut it in.
What's he pointing to?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Knowledge.
I
Knowledge
know
is
you're an
power.
angel, but it looks like you have the hair.
Could just be the hands.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Stars.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's like you're one of the kids now. It's like, put the camera away, get the phone.
She was really doing selfies. That's not us. Well, stars were good. Who's that? Who's that first one?
Okay, well, thank you for that. Next up, we